Rob Seaman.
Here.
Kendra Wesson. Here. Superintendent Walters.
Here. Okay, so we have a quorum. Was the agenda posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act?
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump right into the Pledge of Allegiance here. If you would, please stand with me. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Oklahoma flag salute. I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma. Its symbols of peace unite all people. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. A few comments I have before I turn it over to Director Haken. I was able to take a visit down to Southern Tech down at Ardmore a few weeks ago. Very, very impressed with some of their programs and their partnerships with both higher ed partners at OU and Murray State. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of pivot that into is Director Haken and I had a meeting, was it yesterday? Mm-hmm. Okay, yesterday morning with Chancellor Garrett. And I wanted to commend the director. He's been working on several items with the chancellor to ensure that we have credits that are able to be mobile for folks that have got accreditation through or credits acquired through CareerTech that will translate into higher ed degree pathways. I think that's tremendous. We've been working on some things that we're going to continue to talk more to you all about too when it comes to credits to give more students access to CareerTechs. So I think that there's a lot of great work going on between, we talk a lot about K-12 and CareerTech, but I wanted to point out this morning is getting to see, again, Ardmore had a tremendous dental program that they do out of OU at their CareerTech system, but also they have a tremendous partnership with Murray State. But this has been a very intentional effort, and I will just tell you within about the last year, I have seen incredible progress made on some issues that we've had between CareerTech and higher ed, and I think the chancellor gets credit for that, but I wanted to say this is a very intentional effort from Director Haken to go out and say, how do we troubleshoot these issues? And, you know, we got to identify more yesterday, but I think that he deserves a lot of credit for working through that, but also our CareerTech directors deserve a lot of credit for that on the building sites. There's some big issues, but then some of them are very local. But we've seen a lot of problem solving go on, and I think this is one of those stories that's going to continue to play out, and you're going to continue to see these partnerships grow. And it not only is great for the young people and the adults to be able to go back and forth between higher ed, CareerTech, but I also think you're going to see more and more students that are going to be interested in going the CareerTech route, knowing that these credits can be transferable and things like that. So that's going to be part of something I think we want to continue to highlight going forward as ways that we work with K-12, of course, but those higher ed partners. And so I did want to give the group an update there on some progress that he's made. And like I said, that's required a lot of time on his part, a lot of intentionality, but we're very excited about that. And I think moving forward, that partnership will be tremendous as well. Dr. Haken, that's all I have, so I'll turn it over to you.
I appreciate that, Superintendent, and I just wanted to say thank you for coming. I know it's close to Christmas. I know you guys are busy. It is a crazy time of the year, so thank you for making time to be here. I think it's important, and we appreciate your support on the whole system of CareerTech. A couple of comments that I would make, and I will forego a long speech this morning because we got several different things to get to, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew one of the main initiatives has been growth. And so we took an 11,000 student wait list in the CareerTech Technology Center system and is down because of the efforts of our schools down to about 7,400 now. So really significant growth. We've grown by about 9.5% within that alone, and then total enrollments also just over 9.5%. So things are really going well right now. There's a lot of work still to do, but very, very great momentum. You're going to get to hear from awesome team members today, talking about our students and what they're doing. You're going to get to hear about our state staff meeting that we have twice a year. So you're going to get to hear a lot of the good things, and I will provide plenty of time for those things that are on the agenda. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for that update, Director, and we're looking forward to those items. So can I'll entertain at this moment a discussion or possible action on the minutes from the November 16th regular meeting.
Move for approval.
Second. Hey, we've got a motion and a second. You mind calling roll for us?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Ms. Wesson?
I'll abstain.
Okay, Superintendent Walters?
I'll abstain as well.
Do we have confirmed action? Is that 5?
Yes.
Motion passes. Let's take a look down at item 2, recognitions and presentations. So I will kick that over to, will it be Miss Cavan and Miss Adams presenting there? Okay.
And Adams and Thomas Branson as
Okay.
well. So, Paxton, if you're ready to bring your group forward.
Okay, good morning, welcome, and thank you for having us here today. We were delighted to get asked to speak, and we have a short presentation. I'm going to do a little bit of talking, but then I'm going to turn it over to our superstars behind us. So,
Paxton, who are you and what do you do?
this is on the next slide, but I'm Paxton Cavan. I manage Oklahoma BPA and Oklahoma DEC. I'm their state advisor. So today we're just going to provide you a mid-year update. We were here in May, so it's great to get to talk to you just a few months later and tell you about how some of our initiatives are going this year and a progress update. So again, I'm Paxton Cavan. My email is here, phone number if you all ever have questions or want to help out with Oklahoma BPA and DECA. We're getting ready to host 2 big state conferences where we will host about 100 to 150 volunteers for each one, including judges and things like that, and you're all welcome to crash those conferences at any time. Okay, so a little bit about what BPA is. Okay, and this year we really focused on growth, and this is not a final membership number, but we have surpassed the last 2 years of membership numbers for the state. So membership actually will close out in April, so we're excited that hopefully we'll even exceed the 6,069 members, and that we have not had that since prior to 2020. So we're delighted that we're seeing that growth. And then BPA, as you all know, we entertain students from 7th grade all the way to our post-secondary students in our technology centers. So there are competitions and opportunities and scholarships and workplace skills opportunities and things like that for any of the students that are in our CareerTech system. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to the true leaders of our organization and let them handle this presentation.
Awesome. So here's an overview of what we'll be talking about today. We've already discussed what BPA is, showing you our membership update, but today we'll be introducing who we are for BPA, as well as looking back how successful 2023 was with our 321 Grow initiative, our Fall Leadership Conference, and our first ever Quality Chapter Tour. Then we're going to look forward to how bright 2024 is for Oklahoma BPA by our State Leadership Conference, our National Leadership Conference, and our first ever Chapter Officer Training Camp during the summer. Then we'll be telling you about our own personal BPA whys and answering any questions you guys might have.
Okay, so my name is Michaela Adams. I'm the Oklahoma BPA State President. I'm a 4-year BPA member, and I'm a senior at Cashin High School. After high school, I plan to pursue a business degree at the University of Central Oklahoma.
My name is Thomas Branson. I am the State Vice President. I'm also a 4-year BPA member and also from Cashin, Oklahoma. I plan on pursuing a degree in Human Resource Management, and I'm undecided where I'll be attending college.
Now let's look back on 2023. This year, we have taken on a new initiative called 3-2-1 Grow. We also had our Fall Leadership Conference back in October, the theme was Go. And we also added the Quality Chapter Tour to Oklahoma BPA. 3-2-1 Grow is a new initiative to encourage members to participate in chapter activities. So this is for a chapter to complete 3 BPA Cares Awards, which can be something as simple as community service or the Safety Awareness Award, and then attend 2 conferences, which would be the Fall Leadership Conference in October and the State Leadership Conference, which will be held in March. And finally, achieving 100% of membership within your BPA classroom. So this would be for a teacher to have all of their students in every one of their classes be a member of Business Professionals of America.
So on October 16th, we had our annual Fall Leadership Conference. This year's theme was Go, based off of the game Monopoly. In Monopoly, you have to make smart decisions, take risks, and make connections in order to win. The same goes for leadership. So at this conference, we equipped students with the skills they need to be successful leaders in their school, in their communities, and beyond. We had a total of 1,946 attendees with 24 workshops presented and had record-breaking numbers raised for Oklahoma Special Olympics, that being $20,047.99.
The Oklahoma BPA Quality Chapter Tour is something that my team has added to Oklahoma BPA. We started out in June, and we dreamt up this idea, and we added it to Oklahoma BPA in November. We were able to go to 10 different schools and tell them about BPA.
We just got done with our first ever Quality Chapter Tour and wanted to give you a bit of a recap.
Last week, we were able to visit 10 parts of the state with a total of 1,645 miles.
We love spending time with new and familiar members. We got to reach 26 chapters and 350 members in just 5 days.
While experiencing a workshop-based training, these students had the opportunity to further their knowledge in BPA.
We started the day off with an icebreaker and presentation, and ended the day by allowing students to create their BPA whys.
Being able to connect with each student one-on-one was an experience we will never forget. Each chapter we visited was wonderful, and we cannot wait to see them at SLC.
Thank you to everyone who hosted us at their tech centers and schools. It was a great week, and we are so happy to have added this to Oklahoma BPA.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for making this BPA tour successful.
So we made that video. Sorry. So we made that video to say thank you to everyone who made this tour possible, from the administrations allowing us to come to their school to the chapters who were happy to host us. We had 10 host locations, and those locations would invite other chapters to their schools. We were able to reach 350 members, and we traveled 1,645 miles across Oklahoma.
I decided to join BPA after my advisor encouraged me, and I was looking for something to do. I was kept in by my competitive nature and wanting to win competitions. So far, I've had a good experience with BPA, making new friends and gaining new skills. In the future, I hope BPA gives me a networking experience, helping me get my name out there and becoming more confident.
All right, let's give it up for Rolita.
BPA! At our BPA Quality Chapter Tour, we were able to connect with members one-on-one and even have them create their own BPA Y. And they shared these Ys with us. And then after they shared their Ys in our small groups, they would go and share on stage.
So now, looking forward to 2024 for Oklahoma BPA, the future is so bright. There is so much excitement for our upcoming state leadership conference, our national leadership conference, and our first ever chapter officer training taking place in the summer.
Our state leadership conference will be held in March. We have 100 competitive events, including 3 new state events. We will be having workshops, a state officer election, as well as a keynote speaker, and be presenting awards. There is an estimated 1,700 attendees.
May 10th through 14th will be our National Leadership Conference taking place in Chicago. This is where all finalists from across the state will compete for a spot to be recognized on stage for their events. Not only that, there will be national officer elections, community service projects, and leadership activities for all BPA members. In BPA, the whole organization wants to push students to take risks, take chances, and when they see an opportunity, to seize it. That's why this year's national theme is Seize the Opportunity.
Now, this is something called CORE that is a summer camp for chapter officers that we wanted to add to Oklahoma BPA. Unfortunately, our team was not able to go on this, as we kind of dreamt it up and we didn't have enough time. But next year's team will be able to start this, and hopefully it will be for years to come, where chapter officers can come to a camp, and we're looking at an Enid area, and then they can learn about what BPA is and how they can help their chapter become successful.
So earlier, for Quality Chapter Tour, we talked about we had students share their own personal BPA whys. This is their BPA story, and now we would like to share ours with you guys. So I joined BPA as a freshman in high school. At that point, all I ever seen was athletics. That's all I wanted to do. And I really wanted to venture out and gain more depth in my personality. So after some strong encouragement from my advisor and my family, I decided to join BPA, and I was so happy I did so. I loved the community service part of it as well as the competition part, and which ultimately led me to run for state office and be elected as a vice president. And it's an experience I would never forget.
I joined BPA as a freshman in high school after some encouragement from my chapter advisor. During my first year of BPA, I competed in 2 competitions, and I loved it. It was online at that time, but then the next year I was able to attend the state leadership conference, and BPA has changed my life in tremendous ways. Thank you so much for having us today.
Now we'd like to open the floor to you guys if you have any questions for us.
Awesome, awesome job. Thank you. Questions would you guys have for our students or our advisor?
One of the comments I'd like to say is just thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the Special Olympics. $20,000 is a lot of money. So that was huge. So thank you guys for your leadership and working with the members.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
One question I would have is, now that you've experienced BPA for your high school career, what do you think are the skills that's going to take you to the next level, whether that education leads you into college or wherever it may be?
BPA has really helped me develop professionalism and some leadership skills, and I can really see this helping me in my future.
It helps students gain confidence and will really put them in a great place for the future careers.
Awesome. Good. Superintendent?
Let me ask you guys this. So you're both from Cashin.
Yes.
So what did Cashin do that got you, like, how did you first encounter the program? What did I mean, that's awesome that you both come from Cashin Public Schools. So can you kind of give us a little bit about what's going on there to get you guys in?
We have an amazing chapter advisor, and she has really helped us, like, push us to be our best. And really, she just, she'll bend over backwards for both of us.
Yeah, she tries to bring in everyone she can because she knows how great this organization is, and she loves seeing students blossom. So once she really pulled us in.
That's awesome. That's great. Anybody else have any questions, comments, or? I appreciate, you two being as involved as you are, but your leadership, that this is tremendous, and it was awesome to hear the update. And like you guys said, this will be something that goes beyond you all for years to come. So thank you guys for what you're doing. And again, it's meaningful now, but also you'll be able to pass it on. So thank you guys very much for your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was great. That was outstanding. Next, we've got management information, item 3, with Mr. Justin Lockwood.
I'm breaking one of the cardinal rules of presenting, and that's following a student presentation. But that's what we do at the agency, so we're very proud of our students. So I'll take one for the team and follow them. There you go. We had our, as Director Haken said, our winter state staff meeting. We have one in the winter and one in the summer. It is the 2 times a year that all of our employees from within the agency are together in the building, because approximately 60 of our employees are housed off-site at other locations, and this is one of the 2 times a year that we are all together in the same meeting. The meeting in the winter, the Christmas time meeting, is usually a little more focused on celebrating our successes, encouraging our staff, and that type of presentation, where the summer lends itself a little more to PD oriented. The meeting last week began with a welcome from Director Haken with the staff. We then recognized new employees, and I'm not going to read them to you, and when you're looking at them, you will see that there are about 20 new employees, which is about a 9% new employee rate. And if you're thinking why, we have had a fair amount of turnover, but part of that is with the new director, some new changes in that. And then also, more importantly, the majority or a large part of our employees come out of the school world, and those folks change jobs in the spring, so we would be hiring in the summer and into the fall. So hence we have a turnover this time of year that we recognize. And they are across the board, from skill center instructors to federal division to every division within the agency. We have had several employees that have transitioned to new positions or promotions. Once again, this is exciting because we get to grow our own employees. And for example, Ashley would be one of those folks who had recently, Jessica, Max, Gina, the folks who are here, several of them have transitioned to new positions recently. So we're excited for our internal folks to have new opportunities.
Yeah, so she recently got married, so the last name danced across.
She has a new name. So we were fortunate to have a great guest speaker, Gabriel Lewis, who is a product of CareerTech. Oklahoma CareerTech came out of Francis Tuttle, is where he began his education career in culinary arts. He ended up, if you know him or have heard his story, on Master Chef 2 different times, is now a chef to several celebrities and is well thought of in that arena. And he was very complimentary of the CareerTech system and Francis Tuttle and his experience there. And he was had a very heartfelt message for the staff and basically reassured them that what we do does kind of help students. We had a lunch. We as a state agency cannot buy our employees food. That's against the rules. So we are partner with our Employees Association, and they provide the lunch. And so we were very fortunate to have them. Director Haken did actually smoke meat for the meal and got up middle of the night before and was up. So by the end of the day, he was a little sleepy, but we kept him going and he got through it. But it was a great lunch. And like I say, I do thank the Employees Association for their effort. We updated the agency, played a couple little games, like say some just fun. Had a video, I hope it's not on here, it's not, thank you. Where we were encouraged, some of us had to do some silly dancing. And so all in the sense of building culture and climate in the agency, so it was good. We then, in the afternoon, into the day, I'm Southern Baptist, I don't dance. So, we did give awards for our employees. This is a little bit of a change from the past. It used to be multiple people received awards in each area. And a couple of years ago, there was a change where there is one employee out of our 220 plus that receives above an award, or above and beyond award. Nancy Sajeka, which is an employment transition coordinator with our skill centers, received that for her work, as she is a strong advocate for our students leaving that system. Leadership in Achieving Excellence Award. Shauna Nord, who is manager of the CCD division, and that division is taking under enormous task, as both Director Haken and Superintendent Walters have talked about, bridging the gap, and she is in the division that is helping to move that ball forward. Excellent in customer service. Valerie McBain is in our finance division, and Valerie is tasked with multiple things in that division, but one of her huge tasks is all of our agencies travel flows across her desk. And as a state employee, when we file travel, everything has to be down to the 10th of a mile to the penny. And Valerie can tell somebody to refile a travel claim and do it with a smile and make them be happy to do it. So she does a great job working with our staff in all of the ways that she works with them. The team award, we give one of our teams in the agency an award. This group is the group, we have a partnership with several tribes, and we put on a show called the Indian Country Business Show, and it deals with, this group primarily works with Apex Accelerator, which used to be PTAC, which was OBAN, which basically teaches businesses how to bid for state and federal jobs and how to submit those bids and how to get those contracts. And we have a show that we host with tribes in conjunction that have several businesses come to it, and these ladies were the ones who drove that event to a great success. It continues to grow year after year. So they received the team award from the agency. So that was state staff in a very short version. We spent most of the day till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We go off-site and have it at a different location, so it's a little more festive. Plus, we don't have anywhere in the agency that's big enough to host us all. So, any questions?
I'd like to thank Mr. Brown for attending for a while that morning. It was great for you to be there. Thank you.
Who got the Ugly Hat Award?
Ooh, I probably should have won that award if we gave it out. So Max asked me when I set my hat down, he said, "Did you put PVC pipe in your hat?" I'm not quite that, I don't have that much forethought. It was a styrofoam cup. That was a giant Christmas tree. I'm glad we didn't add those photos to the slideshow. The public did not need to see those. Any questions for Justin? Thank you, Dr. Lockwood.
All right, next item on the agenda, we have item 4.1, update on administrative rulemaking process with discussion and possible action with Ms. Gina Hubbard.
Well, good morning. Gina Hubbard, Director of Statewide Outreach. And Justin, I think the only thing worse than following these wonderful students in Paxton is following the Christmas stuff with rules. I know you saw that on the agenda, and that's why you're all here today, so thank you for coming. Before I jump into Chapter 1, I believe you have copies of these in your packets, and they were emailed, so, and I know you spent lots of time reading them because they're pretty exciting. But no, they're very important, and happy to be working in this process. But Paxton is so humble. She was a phenomenal state officer when she was in high school, and it has been so much fun to watch her grow, and the level that she has taken, both BPA and DECA, are just phenomenal. So Paxton, you're a rock star, and you don't give yourself enough credit. So there. Okay, so Chapter 1, and just so you know, these were published. We have a process, obviously, for all the state agencies. These were actually published in the Register by the Office of Administrative Rules last Friday. So we kind of are officially in comment mode for about the next 30 days. So I'm going to just give you a brief overview of the changes in every chapter, and then next month we'll revisit for final approval. So Chapter 1 under organizational description. This amendment to Subchapter 5 allows the director to approve appointment and compensation for all employees that are a pay band 17 and above. So you all talked about this at the August meeting at the agency and had discussion and voted on that. So this just solidifies that action by putting it in our rules. The next one outlines the complaint and grievance process for our agency as well as our technology center. So these are external complaints that might come in, students, patrons, what have you. We've always had a process, but we've never had one in writing in the rule book. So we are putting that in place, and we are following some guidance from our accrediting body at the national level, as well as other state agencies. And we've also looked at higher ed's policy, how they manage that with the regents and their colleges across the state. So done a lot of research. We've already received some very positive comments back from our rules committee that in the superintendent's group. So again, we'll be, there might be some minor tweaks to these before we solidify them in February, but that's what we're doing with Chapter 1. Do you guys have any questions about that one? Comments? Awesome. Okay, now we'll move to Chapter 10, which is Administration and Supervision. This one falls under Chapter 3, under State Technical Assistance, Supervision, and Services. So this really just brings our rules into alignment with what the process currently is in our testing and our printing division. It updates us to allow us to determine the shipping and handling charges on orders rather than it was a set amount in the rules at like $9. And as you know, those things fluctuate based on the market and things like that. So we're kind of making that a little more general and allowing our divisions to determine what those costs should be based on the time that the orders are placed and where they're going and those kind of things. So it really just gives us a little more flexibility in that. So you put a dollar amount in a rule and it's definitely going to change. So we're trying to avoid changing this all the time and letting that structure be in alignment with the market. So questions about that one? Okay, great. Chapter 15, under technology centers. This one is under technology centers education in subchapter 3. The changes in chapter 3-2 and 3-5 really only apply to Kiamichi Technology Center because it requires a different type of zoning if they serve more than 70 public schools and 225,000 electors. So we needed to get our rules in alignment with that so that when Kiamichi is zoning for board members, they're in compliance with our state statute for that. So at this moment, it only applies to one school, but we definitely want to make sure that we're following the statutes for that. The next one in this chapter is provides technology center program definitions. So we've not really ever had written definitions on what we define as a program. So Director Haken has worked with our technology center superintendents and we've come up with these definitions that will allow us to better categorize what we're doing in our system, as well as opening access to more students, because it allows us to have a full-time secondary course, a full-time program, and then pre-occupational programs for exposure to careers. So those do not result in an industry credential, but they're still very important for students to know what their options are. And so we really wanted to just get this in writing and define it so that we can be consistent across the state, capture our data in a more consistent manner, and tell our story better. So that's what those three definitions do for us in these rules.
If I might explain that last one just a minute, if that's all right with Gina?
Yes, please.
So that last change is pretty significant to the way that we've been operating. So as Oklahoma CareerTech, we have considered a program to be a half-day, full-time program within our technology centers. Well, as you guys are aware, we're encountering a situation where a lot of students need to be in our tech centers. They need to be in our programs. So in order to expand that, we needed to make a rule change so that we can serve more people, as she alluded to. So we currently serve a little over 5,000 students in course-only options, where their schedule does not fit a half-day, but they could take a course. Most of the time, it makes more sense for them to be embedded in the school because they need to be transported if they come to the tech center. So this rule change allows us to count that as a service that the tech center is providing, where before we didn't document that at all. Also, the TAP program that you guys are probably familiar with in Woodward at High Plains that we're trying to expand and use in more schools currently doesn't count for anything, for them to do anything. So this rule allows them to count pre-occupational programs as a service they're providing to their sending schools. So not that we recognize that's not an industry credentialed class, it's not an industry credentialed program, but it gets students ready for those programs and it exposes them to careers early. So all benefits that the schools are seeing, the K-12s are really enjoying that opportunity, but High Plains didn't have a rule to really work within, so they just did it. And so now we would create an environment where those could be encouraged and we could be excited about providing those across the state. So that's what this rule change is about.
Questions? Great. We'll move on to Chapter 20. This falls under our programs and services, more specifically secondary, full-time, and short-term adult career programs. A lot of this is just some cleanup language, but in the family and consumer sciences area, we want to make sure that their teacher contracts align with the school district's calendar year. So that was a change made in that area. And then also on their approved classes, the process for getting classes approved to be a family and consumer sciences class. And then we also looked at the science, technology, and engineering requirement for the focus field of study to be filed for 10th grade academies. So that is somewhat of a barrier for our students to participate in those, just the process of getting all of that filed. So we wanted to remove that barrier. However, we will continue to follow the State Department of Ed's rule that requires us to file that should these classes be in cooperation with higher ed. So for example, if they are qualified for Oklahoma's Promise, we would go ahead and file that focus field of study, run it through the process, and follow that statute. So we'll be adding that piece to these rules during the comment period so that we're clear that we're not conflicting with the State Department of Ed requirements for those courses to count. So, did I say that all correctly, Andrew? She's been a godsend. She's been wonderful helping me through this process. So I'm kind of learning about all the different intimacies of our divisions as I do this, and it's been really great. And then on the proposed rule amendment for the BMIT division, Business Marketing and IT Ed, that just clarifies that a high school CareerTech program that is funded with $412 must participate in BPA or DECA student organizations, because that's where the support comes from. So that just clarifies the student organization piece of that. And then we had a little bit of tweaks for our health careers division. Again, just making some adjustments between the language said middle school, it should have said junior high, so we just made that adjustment for the health area. And also, I thought there was one other thing with that one that I didn't make a note on. Oh, it had to do with enrollment numbers, setting caps on enrollments based on the type of health careers program that it is, so that the teacher-student ratio stays within the guidelines of their accrediting bodies for the most part. So we want to make sure that there's not too many students to the ratios in some of those classes. So
Might clarify, Gina, that
yes.
with health careers and a few others, other boards set the requirements for those. So that's not our board. We may train and teach to that, but the Board of Nursing or cosmetology board may set what the limits are that we do, our limits and teacher limits. So we have to be in compliance with them as well.
Yes, thank you. And then, last but not least, in this chapter, we set up the adjunct teacher requirements for K-12 programs so that our CareerTech programs can take advantage of adjunct teachers where needed. But we put some guardrails in, some parameters on what qualifies them to be an adjunct in our programs. And those are all very well outlined in the chapter. So there was quite a bit in Chapter 20 because that's our program area. So a lot of stuff in there. Do you have any questions about Chapter 20? Okay, the last one. So this is Chapter 35, Adult Education and Family Literacy. Again, this just clarified the language because we don't really, the language actually said that we evaluate grant recipients, and it's really more of a monitoring process than it is an evaluation. So we changed that language, and we wanted to make sure that it's clear that we follow the AEFL handbook for those programs, which is Adult Ed and Family Literacy acronym. So again, two minor little clarifications in that chapter just to make sure that we're in alignment with what we're actually doing for those programs. So, and that is all of the rule changes.
You guys have any more questions for Gina?
So can I ask you just for clarification, have these gone out for public comment yet? Are you in that window?
They are on our website, yes. They're posted on the website and they're posted in the register.
Are there any of these, I mean, that have garnered negative feedback or a group heavily critical? I mean, like, I just think for the one dealing with Kaiamishi directly, I mean, are they, any kind of negative feedback on any of these?
Not to this point, but they were just published Friday.
So we might walk you through just a little bit for all the board members of the process that we follow to kind of get this going if you want to, Gina.
Yeah, I have the next step. So as I said, they're published in the register, they're published on our website, and the comment period is now open till January 15th. So the public anybody has the opportunity to provide feedback. And like I said, we've already heard from our superintendent's committee on some tweaks on that rule, so we'll look at that and take those into consideration. So, yeah, they're open and they're out there. There will be a public hearing where all of these will be available in this room or wherever we're having the board meeting in January. And people can sign in and they can make comments to you about any of these changes. So we have our public hearing scheduled for that day. And then if we hear, once that is completed and we submit our final set to the governor, if we don't hear any feedback, then they will be adopted at our February meeting. So.
Great.
And I will tell you, they're rolling out a brand-new online system for all of this. And Andrew and I are very excited about that because it really cuts down on the paperwork. Everything's done online and sent where it's supposed to be sent. So we're super excited to not have so many documents to develop. But it's been a great learning process, and I appreciate your patience. And if you have any
Gina's
more
done a great job of making sure that the field can bring input as we're looking at what rules need to be adjusted. That's one thing that I want to make sure that you all know is these don't just come because we think of them out of thin air. It's suggestions and comments that come from the field that, hey, what are the hindrances? What are the things holding us back? And then some from us also as the agency is like, oh, we need to clean this up a little bit. So it comes both ways, and that's how they get to you as they are now.
There's actually a forum on our rules webpage that people can submit to make changes or edits or add new rules. So we've opened that up. It's out there. We give a time frame for that, and then we bring them all in and we talk about them as an agency, and then we move forward in this process. So we really have opened it up to allow people to have input on these. So, all right, thank you guys, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Next item we have 4.2, discussion and possible action of the adjustment of department salary structure. So this is Director Hakins.
Awesome. You should have provided to you the pay bands that are currently the structure for within our agency. Really, this item is just information. I'd like for the board to be informed of how we operate, what we're doing. I mean, I think that that goes well for us working together. I know that when I came on 11 months ago, we had discussed what pay bands were. We adjusted those in July based on the pay raise that teachers got and what we could do. So those are listed down at the bottom of where the adjustments were, where we gave no adjustments are listed there as well. And then we also gave you an example of what OMES says is allowable by state agencies for state agencies. So we do not have to take any action on anything here, but I did want to make you guys aware of where we are. I mean, I think that's just good prudence for you to know where we are on our quartiles, our pay bands, and then what is allowable so that you are aware. And I would entertain any discussion, thoughts, questions. I do not have a recommendation at this time, but would be happy to bring one forward if you guys thought you wanted me to look into something or review.
Do you mind clarifying for us, Director, if you had someone that you wanted to pay beyond this for whatever reason, what is that process? Would we have to vote on that to change that? Would we have to ask OMES?
So, so within a band currently, we can adjust within that band.
Within the band, okay.
But if it goes above, we would have to come to you as a board for approval to move bands. If it's above, what is it now, 17, I believe is what we're aiming for, if it's above a 17. I could do it within, and Andrew, correct me if I say anything wrong, within, if it's below. What I want you to be aware of is that I believe that we understood there was caps in our system, and there are caps that have been approved by you as a board on this pay band structure, but they're not the same caps that are allowable within state government. So I just want you all to be aware of those things. We don't have any recommendations or changes at this time. I really just want the board to be informed of where we are, because I know that question has come up before, where we've talked about what is the pay available as a state agency. And I know when I came on, I was under the impression that our pay bands were the limits that were there. That's not necessarily the case, that this board sets that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Anybody else have any questions on that item? Okay. All right, and you said no?
I don't need any action, nope.
Okay. Let's move on to item 4.3. So this is the MOU there, Director Aiken.
Yeah. So we have a copy in here.
Yes, sir. It's
Yes, we do. So the State Department of Education, staff and my,
Do you want to ask Superintendent Walters if he would like to recuse?
oh, yeah, since this is a memorandum that you may have to approve at your other board meeting, would you like to be a part of the discussion or recuse yourself for the discussion?
Advise me on that. What are my?
I would recommend recusing since you would vote on it as SDE.
Can you hear the discussion and then recuse before the vote? Or
The Ethics Commission recommends not being part of the discussion at all if you're going to recuse.
And just to be clear, this would have to be passed through this board and the other board to go into effect.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
both.
Awesome. All right. Well, then I will step out and just send somebody to come get me.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, Andrea. She's an acting member of both.
Can I go too?
Come on, Mike. I think we'd be down to 5 by then. All right, so as I was beginning, thank you, Andrew, we have been working together for the last 6 months about how do we serve students better, 6th grade and above, to meet ICAP requirements, and one of those requirements is work-based learning. Our system currently, just like you heard from our BPA officers, serves 139,000 SD, close to SD students that have work-based learning experiences as part of what they do within their CTSO. So it makes logical sense for us to help document that for all students. We will also have a platform called OK Career Guide where we track students through ICAP. One of 2 systems. We have one, higher education has one as well, and we both have that available for free to schools. So along those discussions, working with the Career Readiness Division here at SDE and our Career Counseling Division through Shauna, they started talking about what can they do to better serve, started looking at the vendors that we both currently have of what could be provided. What we have here is kind of spells out if we were to work together and how that could happen. What I'm looking for is my board okay with a memorandum of understanding that explains these things, where they would be able to pay in as well. We house OK Career Guide, currently pay just a little over $700,000 for that system. This is an enhancement that would be added to the Connect to Business. What I will tell you is we're going to, as an agency, we're working on this regardless. And we're going to collaborate with them because they're going to have a division that helps roll it out to schools. What this provides is an opportunity for them to support that should they have the funds to do it. None of that has to happen, okay? But it's just like you guys in private business. If we're going to work together, we got to have something approved before we can move forward. So it's not saying that this is the agreement that may be final. They may have adjustments that they want to make, and it may come back before. But it's just a pathway or a platform for those discussions to formally happen, even though we've been working together on what it would look like. We plan to roll this out, the Connect to Business remodel, this spring, so that all schools in Oklahoma, K-12 schools, could use that to track their students through work-based learning experiences. We're also looking to enroll businesses into that platform so that a student can jump on and see what connections might be there, so they could go get an internship or apprenticeship or all those things. So we're working collaboratively. Our divisions are going to work collaboratively. This is a formal document that we could approve that said we have a pathway if the agency at SDE would like to support that as well. What questions might you have?
Currently work with this program. They
Yes.
currently do not. We would like to expand this
Mhm.
program to K through 12. And would they also financially support it from their own budget, since we already are supporting it in our budget?
That's what this agreement would allow, is for them to financially support it. That may not, I don't know their finances, to
So
be
we
real
don't
honest.
actually know if they're motivated to do this. We're proposing this to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I can't make that decision. But,
Sure.
But we've talked, and I would say fairly that we're motivated to work on it. I don't know what their budgets will allow, so that wouldn't be fair for me to say. What I will say is that we can continue without their financial support, and we also have applied for a grant that would cover it as well through Department of Education if we got that. So then we wouldn't even need financial
So
contribution.
there's not really a downside to proposing this to them, because if they say no, we're still going to do it.
We're still moving forward. Mhm. Yeah.
It would only be an expansion, but we
Yeah,
wouldn't. need
it provides a pathway for them to support, because without this, they can't support.
Okay.
So then if they can, that's great. We can work together. And if not, we're going to keep rolling forward.
Yeah, great.
But any other questions that you may have, that's a great question. Andrew, did I explain that fair? Okay. She helped me put this together. So have you noticed anything legal? She takes great care of us.
Move for approval.
Second.
Would you please do a roll call?
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Miss Hillary?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hillary.
She's not here. She's not here.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Sorry.
Motion passes. Thank you. I'll go get, oh, you gonna get them, Justin?
Thank you.
It works better if I look at them instead of reading.
I'm sure he's been called worse. You don't get to leave the whole meeting.
Look at that. Isn't that cute?
That's in our cup.
Yeah, that's in our cup. Our little Christmas stocking cup.
She ran
I was
off.
following her in here. We're good, right?
Yep.
Somehow lost you between here and there.
Sorry for kicking you guys out.
No, hey, no problem. All right, so what do we need to do next?
We're on agenda item 4.04.
Discussion and possible action on the evaluation rubric for the state director.
So you guys will find in your packet the evaluation rubric that we talked about last board meeting. Wanted to make sure that you all had time to review that. I know that you had asked for some input from me on that. Happy to answer any questions. What I was after, and for those that were not there at the last meeting, is something systematic that happens every year that you give me feedback on what you think's going well, what you think is not. So we have this evaluation criteria presented, and I would recommend to approve unless you guys see fit for other discussion or changes.
My comment on the rubric is I thought it was well thought out. I thought it covered the criteria that we're looking for in a director.
Also credit to Andra.
Move that we approve the evaluation rubric for the state director.
We've got a motion, a second. Ashley, can you call roll for us?
Yes. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Miss Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Miss Wesson?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. So motion is approved. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question? Andrew, should my motion have said that this be performed annually, or do we, because the thought is, I mean, we've had evaluations of the state director occasionally, but should we do this annually, or can we address that at a later date, or? Okay. Okay. That's for this.
That's for the tool, yep.
Okay. But because as a board, it would help the board and the agency to have some type of annual evaluation, so.
Last meeting, we discussed doing it at
In the fall,
October meeting.
so, yeah.
Because we're normally out at Stillwater and that it would line up well, but we have never clarified that we wanted to actually do it annually and set it. I mean, that was kind of the point of that discussion, right? Was that we wanted a rubric and we wanted to say that we were gonna do it annually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe next time we
yeah.
discuss.
We can, Should we add an agenda item next meeting just to say that it will be an annual review? There will be an annual? Yeah. I don't think I would put a date with it, would be my advice, because in case you can't meet or anything, but I would say an annual review.
Annual review. So, but the idea in Stillwater was,
Good.
the
That's what we'd
discussion
shoot
was
for.
Very good idea, yeah.
Yep.
So, okay.
We could
Sorry
add that
about
next agenda.
That's great.
Sorry about that, Superintendent.
No, that's great. So next item is 4.5, proposed executive session for annual performance review of the state director.
And here's a script if you need anything for executive session. Andrew provided.
And so if we go into executive session, we will leave, correct? Or will we vacate the room?
We'll kick everybody else out.
All right, sorry, guys. Let's see. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call? Ashley?
Yes. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes.
Ms. Hanning?
Yes.
Mr. Hillary?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Ms. Wesson?
Yes.
Superintendent Walters?
Yes. Okay, motion passes, so we'll go into executive session if we would. I would like the board counsel, Andrea, to hang with us here in executive session.
Everyone else clear the room?
Call me in if you need me.
Yes, sir, Director. Thank you.